Good morning, everybody. Today is February 11th. That means Valentine's Day is only a couple more days away. Paula's over there having a snack, so that means I have some spare time to make a couple things. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out my Betty Crocker cookbook and make, I think I've made this in 3 videos now. I'm going to make the chocolate snack cake just because it's so easy. It comes together so fast. You don't need eggs, you don't need butter. It's one of my favorite go-to recipes, and the chocolate cake is just so good. And I'm going to make these into little cupcakes, and I'm going to top it with, I made this like twice before and I have not perfected it. The last time I made it, I think I cooked it too long and it was just a little too thick. So we are going to make fudge frosting, and this is the fudge frosting that you make on the stovetop, and you boil it almost like you're making fudge but turning it into a frosting. So this is not buttercream with cocoa or melted chocolate in it. This is a different thing. This reminds me of when I was in high school and used to work at a bakery, and we had legit fudge frosting. So good. Kind of like the stuff you get in the can from Betty Crocker. It's like really hard to make for some reason. I'm going to try to make this again for these cupcakes, and also I am making a smash cake for my girlfriend's 1-year-old in a few weeks, and I wanted to do, the cake's going to look like a log, so I thought the fudge frosting would be really cute on the side as like the bark of the tree. So that's really the main reason why I'm making this today. I'm going to make the cupcakes first. While those are baking, I'm going to make the fudge frosting because it has to cool for 45 minutes before we can frost our cupcakes. So hopefully this timing works out really well. So let's get going. Okay, so this comes together pretty fast. So we are going to start 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of white sugar, 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and I'm just sifting mine because mine's always lumpy. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then I'm going to go ahead and just whisk those together. So I'm just going to put this to the side for a second, and then here I have a cup of cold water. And I'm going to add 1/3 cup of vegetable oil to that. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And then a whole teaspoon of vinegar. You can use white vinegar or apple cider vinegar. I'm using apple cider vinegar. Then the directions say to vigorously mix this for a minute. And then you're going to add, let me bring this back, you're going to add your wet to your dry. And then the key to this, because you have the baking soda and vinegar reacting, is you want to mix this and get it in the oven as soon as possible. So let me mix this up. And then I'm going to use my little scoop here and portion them out into 24 cupcakes. Okay, so I am not good at portioning out cupcakes. This made, how many is that? 16 for me. So I'm going to put these in the oven. The recipe does not specify cupcake times, so I'm going to put it in for 10 minutes and just check it. Okay, so I'm going to get started on this fudge frosting here. Hopefully the oven isn't too loud. So in my pot, I'm going to add 2 cups of white sugar. And we're going to add 1 cup of cocoa powder. And then I'm going to just, it says to mix this first. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients. I'm just reusing this 1/2 cup measure here. But I'm going to add 1. So that's 1 cup of milk. I'm going to add 1/2 cup or 1 stick of butter that I've just kind of cut up so it melts a little bit easier. 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 cup of light corn syrup. So, and I did spray my measuring cup so that hopefully it comes out all in one blob here. So now I'm going to turn this on a medium-high heat, and I'm just going to stir this constantly until it boils. And then once it boils, I'm going to set my timer for 3 minutes exactly. I did not do that last time, and it did not work out so well. And then we're going to take it off the heat. So let me keep mixing this, and then I will let you know when it comes to a boil. So it's only been a couple minutes, and I can feel it starting to bubble at the bottom. I switched to a rubber spatula. So I'm gonna start my timer for 3 minutes right now and just let this boil for 3 minutes, stirring constantly. Okay, so that's 3 minutes. I'm just gonna take this off, and I'm just gonna let it hang out here and cool for 45 minutes off heat. So it's super dark in here today, but you can see it's cooled for about 50 minutes. And it's still very liquidy, and I think this is where I went wrong last time I added too much, because it's still very warm. So I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients, which is 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Get that in there. And then 2 to 3 cups of powdered sugar. I'm going to start with the 2 and see how it goes. I will say you need to do this by hand. I did it with my stand mixer the very first time, and it aerates it too much, and it totally changes the color. It doesn't look like fudge frosting anymore. It looks like chocolate buttercream, and that wasn't what I was going for. So you do this part by hand. So if I was doing something like a 9x13 cake, I would just leave it like this and dump it, because it's still gonna set up a little bit as it cools down. It's like warm right now. It's not hot, it's warm. But I want to pipe this on my cupcakes, so I'm going to go ahead and give my arm workout and I'm going to add a whole nother cup of powdered sugar. Okay, so I've been mixing like a champ, and my test to see if it's pipeable or not is I just take a clean fork and kind of push it through. And if the fork tines kind of stay, I know it's going to stay piped. So now that I have this thick enough to where I want it, I'm going to put this in a piping bag to decorate my cupcakes. You don't have to do this. I actually like to pipe frosting on cupcakes. I think it goes by so much faster. So I've just got a disposable bag here, and you probably can't see that, but I'm using, this is a Wilton 4B. It's a pretty big tip, and it's, I don't know what you call that, star, open star, I think that's what that's called. So to make my life easier, I just put it in a cup, and then I'm gonna put some in here. I'll probably have to refill this bag a couple times. Okay, so let's see how this goes. All I'm going to do is put some of these sweet little Valentine's Day sprinkles that I had. I'm just going to put some on top, and they're all done. And there you have it, chocolate fudge cupcakes for Valentine's Day. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.